Welcome one, welcome all. Today we're in the shower because we're about to do something crazy. A lot shorter. Oh, yep. There it is. I have an egghead. Welcome to this chapter review, everybody. I had to shave my head because I have shitty hair genetics, so I had to fix that and bald everything up real quick. Let's talk about the chapter. Let's talk about Orochi and his mythical zone snake fruit, and let's talk about Kiroshiro and Komurasaki and Nami and Robin and Shinobu's ball buster moves. Let's also talk about everything that's going on. So we're going to start it off with I'm going to start off with like the Nam and Robbie stuff, not Nami Robin stuff, because Robin was smart in the last chapter to show that she was using her Mono clone, and she wasn't. This is where like I don't like Oda's writing for women in this particular case of Robin, but I do like in the case of Nami in this chapter, is that Robin was standing by about to do something, and she never did anything. She knew that trouble was going to happen, and it's partly because she's pretty smart in the One Piece world, and she didn't want to start endangering other people, specifically, not Otoka, whatever her name is, small child Otoka. Otama? No, Tama's Toko. Yeah, Toko. So she was sitting there after everybody's going all batshit crazy and is like, I'm about to do something. She does slap that one dude with the Gato hand, which is pretty cool. But Nami was a 10 million this chapter. She slides down through the roof and then just thunderclaps Shogun Orochi. Just full sends it. Just ready to go. Way proud of Nami for that. And then we got the reveal. So now I'm going to go back to the beginning of the chapter. So we got the reveal of Shogun Orochi's Devil Fruit. And it's not a smile. Whew. Love that, honestly. So glad that he doesn't have a smile devil fruit. So he has the mythical zone, snake model, Yamato no Orochi, 8-headed snake. Glad that it's a snake and not a dragon, because there's a lot of dragons pertaining to one, Kaido being a dragon, and two, dragons being dinosaurs in this. So it's cool to see a snake, let alone a mythical variant of it. And talking about Orochi, I still can't judge where he is power scaling wise, because he cuts the pillar in half last chapter, starts going crazy, has pretty good control of his devil fruit, and he bites Komurasaki, and it looks like she's in pain, but it also looks like he's just holding her in the mouth instead of like chomping and gnawing on her. So I can't tell if he's like a facade or if he's actually going to do something or be like a strong opponent for someone. Um, and he's kind of all over the place, really. But I think Oda's putting up this facade of him being crazy and all over the place to mask the fact that he actually is pretty decently strong. I wouldn't say like top 30 yet, but I would say he's definitely like top 50, if that makes sense. It's like I said, it's really hard to judge him. So then we get to the whole entire fiasco where Robin's running around and the ninjas are chasing him. And then it comes down to the scene where Orochi starts biting Komurasaki. And this is where all of the interesting stuff happens within the chapter. Is you have Komurasaki, who's still head fast, pretty strong, not bowing to no man, no bending the knee. Then you have the scene and dialect with Kiroshiro and Komurasaki. And speaking on the Kiroshiro Komurasaki thing, I don't think that they're brother and sister. I don't think that they're lover and lover. I think it's more of the case of Kinemon is a retainer for Oden, as Kiroshiro is a retainer for Komurasaki, but Komurasaki has some ties to the Kozuki family. And I want to do a separate video on that, and I want to pinpoint it exactly and do a little bit more research to see how it could go. But from my standpoint right now, I'm going to be talking about how Komurasaki and Kuroshiro are bonded together through these samurai ways. And so Kuroshiro last chapter says it's about to be a bloodbath. Was not expecting him to cut Komurasaki. I know a lot of people want her to die, but I don't think she has had enough screen time yet, or character development, or character analysis by the rest of the crew, because it doesn't make sense for Oda to implement Komurasaki, only have Orobi kind of meet her, have Nami kind of spy on her, and then have some of the crew look at her as she's walking up to the castle. So I think there's a facade with the actual slash that Kuroshiro did to injure Komurasaki. So I think what's going to happen, instead of it actually being a cut now, is I think it's a foreshadowing of an event later on in Wano where Kuroshiro is not the cutter of Komurasaki, but somebody else will be, and Kuroshiro is going to flip his switch on that one, because either Komurasaki or Kuroshiro have some ability or devil fruit that's basically going to make this like a mirage, like Nami's Mirage Tempo. So I don't think Komurasaki is down, and a lot of people are going to be disappointed, but I do think that she is going down later in the arc. I just see this scene and the sequence as a foreshadowing, because we get to, and I forgot about, but we get to the scene where they're holding the paper, the Kozuki clan emblem, and Roger pointed this out after I was watching his live reaction on this, is that we see Kuroshiro's hand downwards and out of the panel, kind of like this, right? But then we see Komurasaki clearly on the floor, and I don't think that she's holding it. I think Kuroshiro either took it from her, or she has one on herself, and then Kuroshiro has another, and I think that's why they have ties to the Kozuki clan. And so I think Kuroshiro is holding the paper to hide it from the fact of Orochi of his true intentions. But I do think that Kuroshiro slashed Komurasaki in this fake way to convince Orochi that he's actually on his side and that he's a good one. I really like Kuroshiro as a character so far. Pretty, like, he's stoic, but he's also an asshole. And so he's very calm, cool, and collected, but he's also super, like, sarcastic, which is why I like him. Kind of reminds me of me without the stoic. I'm just an asshole and pretty sarcastic most of the time. So we get to that scene, and then it kind of moves on from there, and then we go to the Chopper, Tama, Kiku group where they're handling Big Mom. And Big Mom has reverted back to her 5-year-old self, or her younger child self. And she's talking to Chopper about all the food, and Big Mom's definitely going to go into a hunger pain because Wano has very little food, or very poisonous food, depending on the meat of the animals who are around the rivers and stuff. Definite hunger pain. Another foreshadowing for it right there when she says, "Oh, this soup is so good. I love it." Oh, Lynn, you can shut the fuck up. So Chopper has this obstacle of Big Mom in the way. And Big Mom as the obstacle is her incurable disease. I'm not going to say incurable, but not known of disease, to where she gets these hunger pains. And I think Chopper is going to solve it by the end of the arc. I'm not too stanced out on Big Mom for ally or Big Mom for enemy. I would more likely like to see Big Mom as an enemy by the end of the Wano arc, but she also has to be taken down at some time. And I think the taking down, I don't think it, but a possibility of the taking down of Big Mom would be actually getting her to be an ally, and Chopper would be the main reason for that. But Chopper says, "Hey, let's go to Udon. There's tons of food in Udon, and the prison is in Udon, and I don't want to see Big Mom help Luffy and Kid and all the prisoners escape. Also, at the same time, I want to see what kind of damage Big Mom can do in the Wano country in this state that she's actually in." There's a lot of confliction within this chapter about what's going to happen going forward and what has happened leading up into this chapter. And I would much rather see there be a subverted action to get Big Mom away from the Udon prison, and have Kid and Luffy break out on their own accord with that shady prisoner, the like shadow figured prisoner. I would rather see that than have Big Mom come in and then just assist them, because then Oda is then again using Big Mom for just a plot device, and that actually doesn't help Luffy's character growth or his growth to become the Pirate King. Because if Luffy becomes the Pirate King with the help of Big Mom, it's not really becoming the Pirate King. It's more of like, we had an obstacle, but we turned that obstacle into a paddle. Now we're paddling the Sunny all the way to become the Pirate King to raft up. So I don't want to see that. I'd much rather see Big Mom stay an obstacle and Luffy actually overcome it, whether that be Elbafor later or during Wano. And where I think next chapter is going is I think we're going to get more prison time with Luffy. I think we're going to get maybe, because Oda loves his trolling for chapters, the ending of the Orochi Castle scene. Possibly Sanji versus Page One and how that turned out. And then I think we're going to get a little bit more exposition with Zoro and the rest of the crew to see what everybody's doing. Because I think moving forward, we're about to enter the next 10 chapters or so are going to be the wrapping up of Act 2. Then shit's really going to get wild, like wild. So, thank you all for coming in. I have been living in a shitstorm of a snowstorm lately, and I have been in and out of power, no Wi-Fi for about 2 weeks, and I'm going to be recording probably about 4 videos tonight, uploading them all tomorrow. So if you like the review, like the video. If you dislike the review and have any criticism that you would like to see from me, comment down below. And until next time, Walter White is out. I'll see y'all eggheads later. Gracias, mis amigos.